Hey guys, welcome to my channel Sengupta's Creation. I am Yona Sengupta, your coach, your mentor, and today we will be starting a new chapter, very fresh chapter, which is called Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation, and Wildlife. Just a second. Okay, so we will start with the chapter of this is chapter 2 of social science class 8. Okay, so I'll start straight away. Just a second. I hope you can see my screen here. Okay. Land, soil, water, and vegetation. So let us start with the first slide, which is there are four components in land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and resources, right? So, in this, first we will learn about land. Now, as you can see, land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources are all natural, are all natural resources. Are all natural resources. So we can also say, in other words, that land, soil, water, wildlife resources, or natural vegetation are all natural resources, right? Okay, next one about land. First component is land. So you see that land is among the most important natural resources. Most important, if there is no land, how will we live actually, right? So as you can see that it covers only about 30% of the total area of the earth's surface, and all parts of this small percentage are not habitable. Okay, understood? Next is uh, the uneven distribution of population in different parts of the world is mainly due to varied uh, characteristics of land and climate. Next is the rugged uh, topography, steppe zones of the mountains, low-lying areas, susceptible to waterlogging, desert areas, thick forested areas are normally uh, sparsely populated or uninhabited. Uh, Now, plains and river valleys offer sustainable land for agriculture, and so hence these are densely populated areas of the world. I hope you can see what I am telling. Next is about the land use. Now, as you can see that what is land use? Now, land is used in for different purposes such as agriculture, foresting, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries, and this is commonly termed as land use. Okay. Next is that now I would like to ask you all a question. What is that question? That is, can you list out the different ways in which a person's family use their land? How? Can you? Okay, I'm getting answers. In the next class, I'll do the question answer. So then I'll tell you what are these. Okay. So next is that 90% of the world population occupies only 30% of the land area. The remaining 70% of the land is either, what do I say? Either sparsely populated or inhabitedly. So the use of land is also, determined by physical factors, such as some of them are like topography, soil, climate, minerals, and availability of water. Now human factors such as population and technology are also important determinants of land use pattern. So we have also done, did you know? Okay, next I'll move on. I hope you can see this picture. This is what we called a land is. Next, this is what land use is. This is land use in agriculture. This is land use in agriculture. This is land use in forestry. They are making the trees more fertile. They are making more grow. And this last picture is a sign of deforestation. Okay. Next, land use in mining. We mine. This is how the land is used. This, there are some pictures you see. Land use in mining. There is another chapter I remember in class, I think 9. There will be a chapter. So then you will learn. Now you will not understand about the main components of mining, and also I am not telling also. Next, this is land used in mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries. So these are some of the pictures. I hope you can see. Next, we will move on to the percentage of area in Australia. Okay. A percent of area in Australia is the cropland is 6, pasture is 56. Now you must be asking me that, ma'am, what is the meaning of pasture? Meaning of pasture. Just a second, my network is very bad today. Okay, so you see that 14 is the forest and the other uses are 24. Next in Brazil is 9, then pasture is 20, forest 30, 66, other use 5 in Brazil. Next, cropland 5, pasture 4, 39 forest, and 52 other uses are there in Canada. Same with the other, like China has 10 cropland, 34 pasture, 14, what do I say? 14 forest, 42 other use. Next, 35 cropland in France, 21 pasture in France, and 27 forest in France, and 17 other uses of France. Okay. Next is India. India, in our country, that is that is 57 cropland, 4 pasture, 22 forest, and 17 is other uses. Okay. Now you have asked me that what is the meaning of pasture. Now pasture means that a land covered with grass and other low plants suitable for grazing animals, especially cattle or sheep. Okay. So this is what we mean. Then Russia comes 8 cropland, 5 pasture, 44 forest, 44 other use. Next is UK, 29 cropland, 46 pasture, 10 forest and other uses, 16. Then UK is 21 cropland, 26 pasture, 32 forest and 21 other use. And in the total world is that 11 croplands are there, 26 pasture. I just now told you that what pastures are. 26 pasture means 26 lands covered with grass and other low plants suitable for grazing animals, especially cattle or sheep. Okay. And forest are 31. Next is other uses, except cropland, pasture and forest. Other one is 32 other use of the in the world. Okay. Next, that the common property resources of common property resources. Now what does this mean? Just a second. Now, as you can see that land can also be classified on the basis of the ownership as private land and community land. So private land is owned by individuals, whereas you can see that community land is owned by the community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, nuts or medical herbs. So these communities are known as common property resources. What is common property resources? These are called property resources. Now this is a I'm sorry, wait a minute, what did I see? Now change in land use over time. What will this mean? That, people and their demands are ever growing, but the availability of the land is limited, right? So you see that the quality of land is also differs from place to place. So what happened is that people started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas, housing complexes in the urban areas, and to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas, right? So as you can see that today, after all these, today the vast changes in the land use pattern also reflect the cultural changes in our society. So of the expansion of agricultural construction activities. So after this you would see a picture, these 4 pictures of agricultural sorry land in use, that the changes that happened in use. As you can see that in the first there are some houses which are not so modified, then some jhoparpatti wala type of you say houses were built, then buildings were built, and then big complexes were built, as you can see here all. Okay, next one is the conservation of land resource. This is important. Now, as you can see, according to the Natural Resources Management Division, Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, Ministry of Agriculture, then comes Government of India, we can conserve our land resources by adopting the following measures. What are the following measures? We will learn right now. Now, first, I would like to tell you something about this conservation of land resource. Okay, so that the first one is by educating, informing, and sensitizing all landholders about various aspects of this precious resource and their sustainable use. I will explain, but first let me read it out for you all. Then is contour plowing is another measure to conserve our land. By this method, the fields are plowed, harrowed, and shown along the natural contour of the hills. Okay, so it helps the contour of plowing in other another measure. So by terracing method, what happens is, just a second. What is this happening? Uh, Oh, that is soil. I'm sorry, I got it the wrong page. So you see that under the forestation and reforestation programming, planting of trees, bushes, and grass help to check the soil erosion. So you see that strict actions are taken to check reckless felling of trees and overgrazing. Number six, shelter belts are planted on the margins of desert areas to check the furry of the wind. Number seven, construction of dams and gully trap inculcate the water harvesting. Don't worry, I will all the things I will explain it to you. This seven points you see one by one, I will show you in the next slides respectively. So you see, that about the conservation of land resource, what happens is that growing population and their ever growing demand has led to a large scale of destruction of forest cover and arable land, and has created a fear of losing this natural resource. So therefore the present rate of degradation of land must be checked. So afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of, for example, chemical pesticides and fertilizers, and checks on overgrazing are some of the common methods used to conserve land resource. Okay, next one we'll talk about the land resource. The landslides. What are these landslides? As you can see, this is this picture. This picture is a picture of computer simulation of the slump landslide in San Mateo County, California, which is in USA in January 1970. This is of 1997. Okay, so you see, a landslide or a landslip is a geological phenomenon which includes a wide range of ground. ওটা ওইদিকে চলে গেছিল বলে আমি এটা কেটে দিচ্ছি, এটা আমি আবার এখানেই লেখা আছে যে of ground movements such as rock falls, deep failure of slopes and shallow debris, follows, which can occur in offshore, coastal, and um, onshore environments. Next, about the landslides. Now, landslides are simply defined as the mass movement of rock debris on or earth down a slope. So, they often take place in conjunction with earthquakes, floods, and volcanoes. So, a prolonged spell of rainfall can cause heavy landslide that can block the flow of river for quite some time. So the formation of river blocks can cause havoc to the settlements downstreams on its bursting. So in the hilly terrain, landslides have been a major uh, and widely obviously spread natural disaster that often strike life and property and occupy a position of concern. Next, this is a picture of the landslide. This is the picture of the Mama's slide in the Mama's neighborhood of Barrio Portuguese. Urbano, don't see this. Here it is written. Urbano in Ponce, Puerto Rico, which buried more than 100 homes was caused by extensive accumulation of rains and according to some resources sources and lighting. So you can see that this in picture, the whole area has been destroyed. Actually, some are asking why am I not explaining more widely, because these you will again read in this class only, class 8, in another chapter. And also that here is nothing to explain to you all. These are all given in your textbooks. I have just whatever was there I have put in down in the slides. Okay, so how you read your textbooks is reading the slides now I'm showing. Okay, yes, obviously. Okay, yes, yes, what I told. Yes, that is the meaning of pasture, Bikram. Okay, next one is the mitigation techniques. But before that, what we'll do is learn about something else too. What is it? I will give you a case study, a small, very small case study. As you can see that a massive landslide hit Pangi village near Renkokpio in Kinnar. Don't have to remember the names, just remember whatever, just imagine what I am telling. District of Himachal Pradesh, and damaged a 200-meter stretch of old Hindustan Tibet. So you see, Tibet Road, National Highway of 22. So this landslide was triggered by intense blasting at Pangi village. So due to the blasting, this weak zone of slope collapsed and caused intense damage to the road and nearby villages. So the Pangi village was completely vacated to avoid any possible loss of life. So what does we learn? For avoiding this, we need to do a process. We need to apply a process, which is what? Which is mitigation mechanism. that we will do right now, which is this. As you can see that hazard mapping locate. So as you can see that advanced in scientific techniques has empowered us to understand what these factors causes landslides and how to manage them. So some of them are given here, some broad mitigation techniques of land slides are given here, which are that hazard mapping to locate areas prone to landslides. Hence, such areas can be avoided for building settlements. This is a process. Next is construction of retention wall to stop land from slipping. Next is increase in the vegetation cover to arrest landslide. Next is the surface drainage controls works to control the movement of landslide along with rainwater and spring flows. Okay, you can see the picture here. This is a picture of that road. Next, we'll move on to the next thing, that is the soil. Now, as you know that the soil is the thin layer, right? Thin layer of grainy substance. Thin layer of grainy substance on the covering the surface of the earth is called soil. So as you can see that it is closely linked to the land. So landforms determine the type of soils, and soil is made up of organic matter and minerals and weathered rocks found on the earth. So this happens why? Because this happens through the process of weathering. Now as you can see, what is this weathering? Now as you can see that the weathering is the breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost actions, plants, animals and human activity. Okay, here it is not written what is weathering, but in the last the end of this chapter there is a glossary part. I have also kept a glossary part for the important words you need to remember. We will do there also. So you see that weathered rocks found on the earth, in other words we can say that landforms determine the type of soil, and soil is made up of organic matter and minerals, and the breaking weathering or the breaking up of decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost actions, plants, animals and human activities. These rocks are found on the earth. So this happens through the process of weathering, and the right mix of minerals and organic matter make the soil fertile. Okay, do you all understand what I'm telling? After this we will search about the different types of soil. What are those? The first one is, just a second, topsoil with humans. So topsoil with humus and vegetation. The second soil is the subsoil with sand, slate and clay. Now the third yellow part is the weathered rock part. What is the weathered rock material part? That is, weathered rock is the decay of exposed, there are exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost action, plants, animals and human activity. These are all there in the yellow part, weathered rock material. And at the last you see there is some rock type material that is known as the parent rock. So you also need to know that it actually takes, we think that it is now only to happen, right? The soil formed. But no, this is a wrong thing, that it takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of the soil. Can you believe it? Just 1 centimeter, which is very important. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. But before that, I told you what is the weather. Now I will tell you about some of the formation terms of soil. First is topography. Topography, what is the topography? That is the slope of the ground surface as determined by features such as mountains, hills, plains, and etc. Next comes is the weathering. Now, what is this weathering? Weathering is the process by which rocks and minerals are changed to soils. Okay, in the previous slide also we learned about the soil. What are they? Next is about the soil formation. Since we are talking about the soil thing, so what is the formation of it? That it is, soil formation is the process by which rocks and minerals are changed to soil over a period of time. Okay, next is at the last thing, you might have seen, there is a rock type which is called the parent rock. Now, what is this rock? Now, rock is a solid and massive materials composed of one or more minerals. Okay, now these are the terms which I told you, just soil formation terms. First is topography, the slope on the ground surface, and weathering, the process by which rocks and minerals are changed to soil. Then soil formation is process by which rocks and minerals are changed to soil over a period of time. And then rock is the solid and massive materials composed of one or more minerals. Now, if you, before going to the next topic, I would like to ask you, if you have any questions, please tell me now if you have any questions. Mm. Hmm. So let's move on to the next slide, which is factors of now soil formation. Now there are various factors of soil formation. The first uh, soil formation is the climate. Next is the flora or fauna and microorganism. Next is time, and then is relief, and then is the parent rock. We will learn one by one about them. Just a second, give me a moment. Okay, so first is about the climate. Okay, so what is the climate here? Climate is about the temperature, rainfall, influence, rate of weathering, and humus uh, formation, right? Okay, we understand what does it mean. Okay, next part is about the um, flora, fauna, and microorganism. What does this mean? That flora, fauna, and microorganisms mean um, that after the rate of the humus formation, what happens? Okay, next is the part of relief. What is the relief? Relief is the altitude and slope the determine accumulation of soil. Okay, Next one is, after relief, is the parent rock. What is the parent rock? Parent rock is about that determines colors, the texture, the chemical properties, mineral content, permeability. If there is no parent rock, what will happen? The plants or the fauna and flora, what will happen is there will be no color or texture. It will go down. Okay, next is left is time. What does time mean? That determines the thickness of the soil profile. Okay, so these which I just taught you, which I just taught you are the major factors of soil in formation and are the nature of the parent rock and climate factors. Other factors are the topography, role of organic material, and time taken for the composition of the soil formation. And all this differ from place to place. Why? You all know, because of the terrain, climate, altitude, and all these. Okay, so next one is the degradation of soil. Now, what does this mean? Let us see this. Now, degradation of soil means the soil erosion and depletion are the major threats to the soil as a resource. Now, both human and natural factors can lead to degradation of soils, and factors which lead to soil degradation are deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, rainwash, and landslides and floods. Now, some of the methods now we will discuss today in our class. The first one is mulching. Now, what does this mulching mean? Mulching means that the bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like a straw, and it helps to retain the soil moisture. I will show you just a second. I thought I had. Okay, before going to degradation, the first we need to know about uh, these the causes of land degradation. So the first cause of land degradation is the mining sites are abandoned after evacuation work is complete, leaving deep scars and traces for burdening. So after happening about this mines, what happens when about again the second person comes or the second team comes to mine? What happens? It can't anymore take, and the and it causes the land degradation. And in states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha, deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. So these are some examples of the state like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. Next is the causes of land degradation number two. What does this mean? That in states, for example, like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, overgrazing is the main reasons of degradation. And here you can see a picture of an example of overgazing, and here you can see an example of irrigation. Now what happens is that in state like Punjab, Haryana, western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation due to water lodging, so leading increasing uh, salinity, alkalinity in the soil, and this is an example of irrigation I told you. Next is the conservation of land degradation resource one. First is the afforestation. Sorry, those don't think this. Now, this is a picture of afforestation. Now is this afforestation? Afforestation and proper management of grazing can help to some text, right? So this afforestation is planting more trees, helping our environment to grow more beautifully, more naturally. Okay, and this is of planting belts of plants. This is shelter belts. Okay. So now you might be asking me, what is the meaning of shelter belts? Right. So you see that shelter belt. What is a shelter belt? A shelter belt is defined as a barrier of trees and shrubs, right? And that provides protection from wind and storm and decreases erosion. So this term field shelter belt, what is this, is used for the trees rows planted in the field to protect the soil and growing crops from erosion. Okay, so I hope this is very much clear to you all. After doing this, that conservation of land degradation resource one, we'll do the next one, which is conservation of land resource number 2. Now this is a controlling over natural resource, and this is stabling what do I say, stabling sand dunes, stabilization of sand dunes by growing horny bushes. What we'll do, we can plant in those areas some plants, so that the plants which has horny bushes, so what will happen, it will help us to stabilize the sand dunes, or else it will what happened, they will become a desert after centuries and centuries, they will become deserts. Okay, next we will move on to the okay, sorry. This is here already. Next, we will start with the conservation measures which I was talking about. The first one is that the mulching. Okay, so conservation of land degradation resource number 3 is that the proper management of waste land. Second is the control of mining activity. I have already told you what is mining activity and how do we control it. And the proper discharge of disposal of industrial effluents and waste after treatment. This is the proper, what do I say, disposal. Okay, disposal. Next is the conservation methods. So the first conservation method here we get is mulching. Now, what does this mulching mean? Mulching means that the bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw, and it helps to retain the moisture. Okay, I think I had a picture of this mulching. This is mulching. So you see the bare ground between the plants is covered. This part, where is it? This part, the bare ground is covered, and it helps to retain the soil moisture. Next comes is the contour barriers. Just a second. Contour barriers, what are those? They are the stones, grasses, grass, soil, and are used to build barriers along contours, and trenches are made in front of the barriers to collect water. Now, what are rock dam? Rock dam are the rocks which together pile up to slow down the flow of water, and which also prevents from the gullies and further loss. Next comes is the terrace farming. What does terrace farming mean? Terrace farming means that the broad how do I say this, broad flat steps on terracing terraces are made on the steep slopes, so that flat surfaces are available to grow crops, so they reduce surface runoff and soil erosion. In other words, these are made on the step steep slopes, so that flat surfaces are available to grow crops. They can reduce the surface runoff and soil erosion. Now, what is intercropping? Now, intercropping is different crops are grown in alternative rows and are sown to at different times to protect the soil from the rain wash rather. uh, just a second. After this is the shelter belts, which I was just talking about. Now, what is shelter belts? Now, shelter belts is that in the coastal and dry regions, rows of trees are planted to check the wind movement and is to protect the soil covering. Okay. Now, I think I have some pictures of them after mulching. Yes, this is a terrace farming, what we call terrace farming. This is terrace farming. This is contour barriers. This is contour plowing. This is rock dam used to block the paths of the to little the flow of the water, and these are the shelter bells, the row or the barriers of trees. Next, we will move on to an activity. What does this activity mean? This activity means that what we need to do is take two trays A and B of same size. Now what we do is mix six holes at one end of these trays and then fill them with the same amount of water. Sorry, with the same amount of soil. I'm really very sorry. Same amount of soil, and leave the soil in the tray. You will see after some time what will you see, that a bare while sow white or rice grains in the tray B. Okay, so after sowing that, what happens is that when the grass in the tray B has grown a few centimeters high, place both the trays in such a way that they are on a slope. After doing this, what will happen is that what we'll do is pour 1 mug of water from the same height into each tray. Collect the muddy water that trickles down the hole of both trays and in two separate containers. Now, can you compare how much soil is washed out of each tray? Yes, we can obviously compare. In the as you can see in the picture, that there is in the container A, or the sorry, tray A, there is more soil drained out, and in the container B there is less. Why? Because as you can see in the why does number A tray drains more soil? Because because what we did was, the B tray was slightly tilted a little. The soil tray of number B tilted a little. They were on slope, so there were no what do I say, washed out of uh, much soil, but in A there was. So this is what we mean about the conservation of resources, soil resources. This is what mulching is. This is what counter barriers, rock dam, terrace farming, intercropping, shelter beds, contour plowing are these. This is an example of degradation of soil and conservation methods. Okay, so now I would Okay, so now I would like to thank you very, very much for attending. Thank you very, very much for attending my classes. Thank you very much for attending my classes. I am very happy that you all attended my classes, and thank you. If you like my video, please like and subscribe my channel. I hope you liked my video. Um, and also please ring the bell icon so that whenever I am online, you can see my live videos and always watch my videos. But this is for free actually. You don't need to pay for just subscribing and liking. And if you have any recommendations on whatever I taught today, or any other video recommendation, please do comment below, so that I can know what you are thinking and what you need from me. Okay, so this would be end of my class. Thank you and bye bye. I'm sorry. Thank you and bye bye. Have a nice day. I hope you like my video. Bye.